Text 40 and 41 today. So 40 says, Adharma bhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyah strishu dushta suvarshneya jayate varna sankaraha. So Arjuna is giving his fourth and final reason why he is declining to fight, which is the loss of the family values, the family tradition. If the elders in the family is killed, then what will cause? There will be irreligion, because these elderly people are the ones who protect these traditions, family traditions. So adharma abhibhavat, it will become predominant. What will become predominant? Irreligion will become predominant. O Krishna. And pradushyanti kulastriyaha, and the kulastriyaha, the ladies in the families, because of losing their elderly superiors, they become polluted, both because the men will take advantage of the situation, and also the women themselves can become corrupt in their mentality, and as a consequence of this, they can become polluted. Pradushyanti kulastriyaha, and as a result, what will happen? Strishu dushtasu varshneya, or descendant of Vrishni, the women who will become polluted will beget jayate varna sankara, and unwanted progeny will come because of producing children without samskara, without proper consciousness, without regulation. In 7th chapter, Krishna says, uh, for a dharmic life, even marriage life is considered a dharmic life, provided it is used to produce children in a proper way, in a way befitting human beings. So, what is that verse where Krishna says, um, I am also the sex life, provided it is followed in a dharmic way? I'm forgetting that verse. Dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Yes. Dharma aviruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. When it is done aviruddha, when it is done in a proper way, according to dharma, that is also I am. So the relation between man and woman, done in a most religious, most cultured, recommended way, is also godly life. But here Arjuna is saying that will be disrupted if we spoil this situation. He's calling Krishna as Varshneya, who descendant of Vrishni. So one of our devotees' names in the temple, Vrishni Vamsha Das. He's not Vrishni Vamsi Das. Vrishni Vamsha is the dynasty of Vrishnis that has become glorious because of Krishna. So the name becomes Vrishni Vamsha Das. He's a servant of all the people, the dynasty of Vrishnis, because they have become glorious. Krishna made them glorious by appearing in their family. Here, why Arjuna is using Varshneya, or descendant of Vrishni? Because Krishna, just imagine in your tradition, if it happens, how will you feel? So Arjuna is trying to invoke that emotional sentiment. See, in my tradition, it is being happening. If you do this, it will happen. Just imagine how would you do if it was happening in your tradition, Varshneya. So that is his point. So Prabhupada explains some interesting points in the purport. Good population is the basic principle for peace and prosperity and spiritual progress in life. If majority of the population, they conduct themselves very well, they are of good character, each of the person maintains good character, values, integrity, the whole society becomes peaceful. So that is what the great leaders also say. Be the change that you want to see in the society. Unless you change, then you cannot expect society to change. A great leader was asking, who wants to change? No, sorry, who wants change in the society? And then everybody raises their hands. And then the next question is, who wants to change? And then nobody raises the question. That means people want to continue their illicit habits, their immoral behavior, their sense gratificatory tendencies, their life of sense gratification without changing. But they want the society to change, which can never happen. Unless you change, you be an example, how can you expect others to follow suit? So, good population is very, very essential for peace and prosperity. And Varnashrama, basically, the one of the main aims of Varnashrama Dharma in those days was to generate good population, to train these Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras, so that they perform these samskaras and beget good children. And these samskaras are of various measures. Even now we follow some of this, like Simanta Samskara, Garbhadana Samskara, Namakarana, Annaprasana. And these are only very few that have been filtered through and which are easier to perform. But there used to be many, many other samskaras which the families were engaged in, which kept the members of the family very busy. Because the idle brain is a devil's workshop. If they are not kept busy, they become vulnerable to sense gratification. Just like what happened, even a small deviance from the chartered path can lead to havoc. Like Ajamila, he was a cultured Brahmana. He was brought up in a nice family, and he was a responsible husband also. And suddenly, by chance, he got to see some Sudra couple, a prostitute and a Sudra person. They were exchanging some romantic exchanges, and that disturbed his mind, and immediately broke away from his path of righteousness. So all these things could have. That is the reason why Varnashrama Dharma is very, very protective. And we should not single out women and take advantage of these statements. But anybody who is born in Kali Yuga is vulnerable. Janmana Jayate Sudra. We all have tendency to engage in sinful activity. That comes naturally to us. These four things come naturally: intoxication, meat eating, gambling, and illicit relations. So these come naturally to us, and therefore, unless there is a program to systematically guide these fallen brains of Kali Yuga, then we will be subject to degradation. Even in those days, during the reign of Manu, not the reign of Manu, the reign of the son of Manu, son of Vaivasvata Manu. So there is the sun god Vivaswan, and there is son of sun god Vivaswan who is Vaivasvata. He is also called Shraddha Deva, who is the current Manu. Like there are 14 Manus, the presiding deities of in charge of this universe during one day of Brahma. So right now we are in Vaivasvata Manu. So there's a big story how he became Manu from being the great king Satyavrata. How the Lord comes as Matsya and gives his darshan and protects the world from devastation in a boat. So all these things are there. So he gets born as Shraddha Deva, who is the son of Vaivasvata Manu, and he begets a son called Sharyati. Sharyati is the would be the king, and he would have a daughter called Sukanya. So one time they go to visit the place of this Muni, Chavana Muni, and they visit the cottage. They couldn't find him. So this daughter, by the will of the Lord, randomly she finds some holes in the cottage on the ground, holes of these earthworms, small holes, and she finds something illuminating there, something glowing coming from the small holes of these earthworms, and she, out of will of the Lord, she takes some thorn and starts pricking that just to explore what it is, that illuminated object through the holes of the earthworm. And suddenly, that glow, it starts bleeding. Blood starts coming, and immediately they face a reaction that none of these people who are at the assembly there, the king and all the soldiers, they would be constipated. They would face a situation where they cannot pass urine or stool. And then the king realizes that somebody has hurt or caused offense to Chavana Muni, and he would be inquiring what happened. And then Sukanya um, tells him that, I have done this, I don't know what it is. And then he realizes that it is Chavana Muni who is actually gone into that hole and doing severe tapasya. Just imagine the power of people in those days. Of course, the modern society, the modern science, they call the people in those days, or millions of years back, as uncivilized. Anyway, so the point is, the king tries to please Chavana Muni so that he won't face the wrath of the sage. And then the sage comes out, and the king is offering his pardon, his excuse. And the Chavan Muni asks, do you have any, is your daughter unmarried? And the point is, he looks at Sukanya, and he becomes agitated. And the king understands his inner motive. And then he says, yes, my daughter is unmarried. I would like to give her in charity to you, to escape the wrath of the Chavana Muni, because the Munis are very powerful. They can curse very powerfully. And so the Sukanya is given in marriage to Chavana Muni. And so he is said to be very irritable character. He gets irritated even at the slightest notion. But it was said there in Bhagavatam that Sukanya pleases him very nicely. She behaves very, very humbly, submissively. She serves him and pleases him. And anyway, there's a big story how he gets his youth back by the help of this physicians, Ashwini Kumaras, and all that. The point is, it is, even though you become very advanced, you become a Muni, you become a cultured person, still the mind, because we are conditioned, because we are naturally attracted to the sinful activities, we can become immediately polluted. So the aim of Varnashrama was to cultivate and protect the vulnerable people so that they can be well protected, and so the society can run peacefully and smoothly, so that they can produce good children, and again they can again be imparted good values, and this system will go on. And the Garbhadan Samskara would make sure that the child who is going to be conceived, before they conceive, they hold a public ceremony called Garbhadan Samskara, and they declare that they are going to conceive that day. They are going to unite and conceive a child. So it was not based on karma. And nowadays, they say it is only based on sex life. The world is there only because there is no design. It is all randomly happening. Everybody getting attracted to somebody by some lusty desires. Um, and then some child is born out of chemical reaction, and the combination of elements becomes life. And they remove God from the picture so that they can go on with their immoral, illicit, and whatever sense gratificatory activities they want. So all these things are in Kali Yuga, they are given away. Garbhadan samskara. They don't. They say that what this is useless. What is what do you get by performing a ritual when we can advance scientifically and produce something scientifically which makes sense, which can be used for something meaningful. But they don't know that these rituals, samskaras, they work on the platform of subtle and spiritual platforms. Like in the 41st verse, Prabhupada is talking about how the by losing this family tradition, the Varnasankara population will give up all these values, all this culture, and offering of Pinda and Udaka to the forefathers. So Pinda usually is done every year to the forefathers, Tarpana. So that the point is the forefathers get the benefit of honoring the Krishna Prasadam, Prasadam offered to Lord Vishnu, so that they can be delivered from any hellish condition if they were in, or they get a good physical gross body if they had not been able to get a gross body because of committing some. Typically, a suicide will result in a subtle body, ghostly body, because they would have ended their life without completing their quota. So for the time, by the time the next body is being made in the factory, they still have no body, so they have to roam as a ghost. So the tarpana, the pinda, will make sure that they get the advantage of getting prasadam. And some people deride it, saying, you are just offering food. Are you foolish or what? The food is still there. Somebody, it's dead and gone, and you are expecting them to come and eat that food. What kind of foolishness is that? But they have no idea that there is eating of food in the subtle body also. People are so caught up on the mental plane, on the material platform. They don't even consider that they cannot even see their own mind and intelligence. But they do know that there is mind and intelligence. There is something called subtle existence. But being blinded by sense gratification, they reject all this. They say that only body exists and nothing else beyond this exists. So it is said that these forefathers who have subtle body, actually in the heavenly planets, their existence is completely beyond our comprehension. They can come before you and you cannot even see them. They can exist on the subtle platform. And they can come and accept the food. That is why when you go to the moon planet also, you will not find anybody. They are trying to find aliens using this Curiosity rover, which was launched into Mars a few years back. And it is going on taking photos. What kind of people will be captured in photos? They are all subtle beings. They have much more sophisticated intelligence than we have. If we can remain invisible by wearing something which is obstructing your vision, how much more intelligent they must be. And it is said that their existence is on the subtle platform. They cannot be seen with our eyes. So to reject a process or which was followed as a tradition as merely sentimental and not consider it as meaningful shows a severe misunderstanding and immaturity. Just like a child rejects payment of taxes to the water body, government water body, as foolishness, because he thinks that opening the tap produces water. And why are we unnecessarily wasting money by paying tax to somebody when the water is coming from the tap. It is like that. So these traditions have meaning or of importance, and they used to be followed in Varnashrama setup for particular purposes for which I told. But unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, Varnashrama has gradually become dwindled and has become non-existent. And as Prabhupada says in the purport of 41st verse, the only thing we can meaningfully correctly follow, is the process of taking shelter of the Supreme Lord in Krishna consciousness. This process called Krishna consciousness is the only way we can ever implement any of these things. Or this will take precedence in the place of these other things which are mentioned in Varnashrama system. Devarshi bhutapta nrinam pitrunam nakinkaro nayam runicha rajan sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation, and has taken to the path in all seriousness, owes neither duties nor obligations to the demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. So, if we are in the devotional life, we are in Krishna consciousness, we are not required to perform all these obligations which are otherwise required. These family traditions, rituals, for those who are not in devotional life, they are required to perform such rituals. Otherwise, they become debtors. Runi means they have a debt, they have to fulfill that debt. But if one takes to Krishna consciousness, see how big license we are getting. That is why it is called the easiest process and most sublime. By just hearing, what you are all doing, just simply by hearing, you are transcending these obligations. You're getting purified. Just by chanting, you are transcending these obligations. Why would one not take such an easiest process, such a blissful process, such a shortcut process in this unforgivable age of Kali Yuga? So Prabhupada ends that by saying such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I'll stop here. Any other questions, comments on what we discussed?